My fiancée, Ava Hayes, and I had been together for years. We were already planning the wedding. Then I saw her, with my own eyes, wrapped in a passionate embrace with my twin brother, kissing him deeply. And the worst part, my parents were right there, watching. They didn't just ignore it, they blamed me. "You're the older brother, Ethan. Why are you so selfish? What's the big deal with letting your brother have something for once?" My brother, Caleb, and I are identical twins. Since we were kids, my parents drilled it into my head. He's the younger brother, so if you want something you have, you give it to him. Time and time again, I gave in. But now, they expected me to give him my fiancée. My name is Ethan Cole, and I'm a manager at a successful tech firm. My brother, Caleb, is a deadbeat who drifts from one odd job to another, if he's working at all. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why would Ava throw away everything we had for him? I'd suspected something for a while, but I never had proof. Not until this past Thanksgiving. We were planning a New Year's wedding, so it was time for our parents to meet formally. The perfect occasion was Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house. They found a flimsy excuse to send me on an errand, but I forgot my phone and had to turn back. That's when I saw them, Ava and Caleb, holding each other. My parents were sitting right across from them, not a hint of disapproval on their faces. In fact, they were beaming. I can't even describe the feeling. It was a cocktail of disbelief and cold fury. The raw, blinding rage and the shame of being cheated on nearly made me lose it. I wanted to storm in there, drag that shameless woman to the floor, but the discipline I'd cultivated my whole life held me back. I took a breath, the anger simmering just below the surface, and turned around, walking away without ever opening that door. What would have happened if I'd gone in? A screaming match? A fist fight? Wouldn't have changed a thing. It never did. It's been this way my entire life. We were born seconds apart. I came out first, making me the older brother. He came out second, the younger. How did that become my original sin? Why was I the one they never seemed to want? My mother had a difficult pregnancy. Carrying twins was hard on her, and the family didn't have much money back then. When I was born, I was healthy and strong. Caleb, born moments later, was frail and sickly. He spent his childhood in and out of hospitals. Because he was weak, he grew up timid and small, never quite catching up no matter how much they fussed over him. My parents blamed me. They convinced themselves that I had stolen his nutrients in the womb, that I had robbed him of his health. It was my fault. Therefore, anything I had, if Caleb wanted it, belonged to him first. I used to wonder, endlessly, what would have happened if he'd been born first? Would things be different? Of course not. If you're the older brother, they just find another excuse. He's your big brother, Ethan. You need to respect him. What's wrong with letting him have his way? It was a game I could never win. So, seeing them push the beautiful, gentle Ava toward my layabout brother, it made a twisted kind of sense. The fact that it was cheating didn't matter to them. They adored Caleb, and they adored my girlfriend. In their eyes, a girl like Ava was too good for me. Only Caleb was worthy. But why? Why do they treat me like this? I could tolerate everything else. I could swallow my pride again and again. But not this. I refuse to tolerate this. Why does Caleb get everything handed to him, everything I fought tooth and nail for? All he has to do is whine to mom and dad. I'm done playing. I'm done being the family doormat. That Thanksgiving night, I walked the city streets alone, and I made a decision. I was going to get my revenge. It was time to scream back at fate. Ava and I worked at the same company. We started dating in college, and not long after graduation, she was fired from her job after a major screw-up. I couldn't stand seeing her so defeated, so I pulled some strings with HR and got her a position in my department. It made it easier to look out for her. At the office, we were the perfect couple, the symbol of modern love everyone envied. At home, I catered to her every need, never showing a hint of impatience. I treated her like a queen. It got to the point where her own parents called me, worried. They told me I was too good to her. They knew their daughter's personality, and they knew I was the best future son-in-law they could ask for. They were afraid she'd take it all for granted. A few days after Thanksgiving, it was Ava's birthday. Every year, I had a routine. I'd secretly order a bouquet of roses to be delivered to her desk. Then we'd have a candlelit dinner, followed by a shopping spree at the mall. And finally, I'd give her the special gift I'd been planning for months. This year would be no different. I wouldn't let what I saw ruin the opening act of my plan. To push someone into the abyss, you first have to lift them to the heavens. It maximizes the fall. It's the only way to soothe the rage in my heart. The moment the roses arrived, the office erupted in oohs and ahs. Envious glances shot our way from every corner. Ava held the bouquet, tilting her head up with a proud little smile, like a swan, regal and untouched by the world. "Thank you, honey," she cooed, linking her arm through mine and planting a sweet kiss on my cheek. But all I could see was the image of her mouth pressed against Caleb's. The lips I once found so irresistible now just looked disgusting. My skin crawled. Every cell in my body recoiled. For the first time ever, I pulled away from her affection. "Everyone's watching, Ava. It's not professional." "Oh, okay," she said, her smile faltering for a second. She pouted, a little disappointed, but didn't push it. Not long after, another delivery guy appeared, this time holding a massive bouquet of white lilies. Delivery for Ava Hayes. Huh. Ava, still holding the roses, took the lilies with a confused look. "Wow, Ava. Who sent those?" A coworker chimed in. "White lilies? Aren't those for, funerals? Who sends that for a birthday?" "Seriously, how twisted do you have to be to send something like that on someone's birthday?" "What a creep," another added. "There's a card, Ava. See who it's from. What a jerk," they all buzzed. Ava's good mood had vanished, but when she picked up the small card, her face went pale. She quickly shoved it in her pocket before anyone else could see. "Haha, it's nothing. Just a friend of mine with a dark sense of humor. Just a stupid joke." I walked over, feigning concern, forcing myself to put an arm around her shoulder. "What's wrong? You okay? You look a little pale." She forced a tight smile. "I'm fine, Ethan. Don't worry about it. You should get back to work." I could feel her body trembling slightly. Later, when no one was looking, she threw the lilies in the trash and tore the card into tiny pieces. Even though I didn't see it, I knew exactly what it said. I'd written it myself. "I know all your secrets, including the one about you and your fiancé's brother. How does it feel, sleeping with the enemy? When you're hiding a secret you're terrified of anyone discovering. The paranoia is a special kind of hell." From now on, she would live in constant fear. After that, Ava was on edge all day, staring blankly at her screen, lost in thought. When it was time to leave, I spoke to her, but she didn't even register it. I walked over and gently tapped her shoulder. "Hey, babe, what are you thinking about?" Calling her that now felt like swallowing poison. She jumped, startled, her eyes darting around nervously. It took her a moment to compose herself. "Oh, nothing. Just thinking about what to have for dinner." "What did you say?" I could see the panic she was trying so hard to hide. A cold, satisfying smile spread across my mind. "You're getting what you deserve, Ava. Did you ever once think about the consequences when you betrayed me? This is on you." She was now a puppet, and I was pulling the strings. This was her karma. I pushed my glasses up my nose, my expression softening into its usual gentle smile. I was saying, let's just eat at home tonight instead of going out. I'll cook, and we should invite Caleb over. What? She looked flustered and immediately wrapped her arms around me. "No, I don't want to. I just want it to be the two of us tonight." Seeing her act so clingy and cute made me want to slap her. If I hadn't seen what I'd seen, I might have actually believed she wanted a romantic night in. "Well, Mom and Dad are out of town, and he's home alone. He can't cook, and I don't want him living on takeout. It's just for dinner. Is that okay?" I asked, framing it as if her opinion was the most important thing in the world. She fell for it, of course. She always did. She pretended to be reluctant, but I saw the flicker of joy in her eyes she couldn't hide. She hugged my waist, resting her head on my chest. "Okay, honey, whatever you say. You know it's because I love you so much." My fists clenched. No wonder she'd been able to deceive me for so long. With acting skills like that, she could have won an Oscar. If I hadn't stumbled upon them by accident, who knows how long this would have gone on. When Ava and I got home, Caleb hadn't arrived yet. I told her to relax on the couch and let him in when he got there, while I went to the kitchen to prep. Before I left, she stole a kiss, her smile sickly sweet. "Wow, you're the best, Ethan. I'm so lucky to have you." "So, what's my present?" "It's a secret," I said with a soft smile, turning away quickly before the disgust on my face could betray me. "Lucky. Lady, meeting you was the worst luck of my life. Your curse." I closed the kitchen door and took a few deep breaths to calm myself before pulling out my phone and turning on the feed from the hidden camera. I'd placed in the living room. Oh, right. The birthday gift. She'd been talking about wanting a cat for a while. I was going to surprise her with a kitten. That plan was off, obviously. Besides, she'd already given me my gift, hadn't she? A betrayal of this magnitude. It was her choice. On the camera feed, Ava was fidgeting on the sofa, anxiously checking her phone, waiting for a message. When it finally came, her face lit up like a Christmas tree. She looked like a teenager with her first crush. I saw it all. A few minutes later, the doorbell rang. Ava kicked off her shoes and sprinted to the door, calling over her shoulder, "I'll get it, I'll get it." I watched the monitor. The second she saw Caleb, she threw herself into his arms. They hugged, they kissed, their hands all over each other. He must have said something funny, because she was grinning from ear to ear, clinging to him like a schoolgirl. How sweet. I gripped the kitchen knife, a cold smirk on my face, and chopped the carrot clean in half. Looks like they've been helping themselves to a lot of secret snacks. I couldn't begin to imagine when it all started. Were they swapping spit behind my back every time I turn around? The kitchen door opened. It was Ava. "Honey, Caleb's here. I'm just going to wash some fruit for him." She took a watermelon and some strawberries from the fridge, humming a little tune. She seemed to be in a great mood. Watching her, the disappointment in my heart deepened into a chasm. She probably had no idea that I hate watermelon and strawberries. She never cared enough to notice why I never, ever bought them. When I was a kid, we were so poor that we bought watermelon by the slice. One day, I took one extra bite, which meant there wasn't enough left for Caleb. He threw a tantrum, and my dad stormed over and slapped me, so hard my face swelled up. "You're the big brother. Why are you so greedy?" "That was for Caleb. Spit it out." I never ate watermelon again after that. Same with strawberries. We bought them one by one. It's pathetic, really. And today, it was Ava who suggested buying watermelon and strawberries. Now I knew why. It wasn't for her. It was for Caleb. Hilarious. She's never been that thoughtful with me. I watched her cut the fruit, my hands slowly prepping the other ingredients, trying to keep my rage in check. I spoke casually, as if the thought had just occurred to me. "Hey, babe, something's been bothering me. Caleb's not getting any younger. Don't you think you should find a girlfriend? None of the women at my office are a good fit. Do you have any single friends you could set him up with? It would get mom and dad off his back." Crash. The fruit platter slipped from her hands, scattering sliced watermelon across the floor. She just stood there, stunned. I let out a cold laugh internally, but on the outside, I feigned surprise. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "Don't worry, I'll clean it up." As I swept up the mess, she turned her back to me to cut more watermelon, hiding her expression. "I don't think that's a good idea," she said, her voice tight. "Caleb doesn't have a job, no car, no savings. None of my friends would go for that, right? Your friends wouldn't, but you would. You're the one willing to throw away your morals and cheat on your fiancé for him. Other women want a man with a house and a car. You just want someone who truly loves you, right?" I almost burst out laughing. Ava took the new platter of fruit out to the living room. I pulled out my burner phone and sent her a text. "How's it feel? A secret rendezvous with your lover in your fiancé's home. Getting off on the thrill of it all right under his nose. My plan was meticulous. New phone, new number. No trail that could possibly lead back to me. She had no idea it was me." The message showed delivered. A moment later, I heard another crash from the living room. "What happened, honey? Did you drop something else?" I called out, my voice laced with fake concern. I waited a few seconds before rushing out of the kitchen, the perfect image of a worried fiancé. "Babe, are you okay? Are you hurt?" Shards of a broken glass were scattered on the floor. Caleb was on the couch, munching on a piece of watermelon, while Ava stood there, phone clutched in her hand, trembling. Her face was a mask of pure panic. "You're just going to sit there eating?" I snapped at Caleb. "The glass shattered. Get a broom before your sister-in-law steps on it." He froze, a scowl forming on his face. I wrapped my arm around Ava's waist, feeling her whole body go rigid. I had to fight to keep the smirk off my face. I'm fine," she stammered, quickly hiding her phone screen and forcing a smile. "Are you sure? You seemed really out of it lately. Not sleeping well? Is it just wedding planning stress?" I made the hug a little more intimate. Her first instinct was to glance nervously at Caleb on the couch. Of course, when a girl falls in love, she forgets everything else, including who her actual fiancé is. I was laughing on the inside. Caleb, meanwhile, was glaring at us, his jaw clenched and his fists balled up. Clearly, seeing his true love in my arms was killing him. "What are you waiting for?" I barked at him again. "I told you to get a broom. Do you want Ava to get hurt?" He got up reluctantly, muttering under his breath. "Wow, Ethan, you're really worried about her, huh? You two must be so in love." The sarcasm was thick. If I didn't know they were screwing around, I might have felt proud. Now it just filled me with disgust. I wanted to wipe that smirk off his face. Ava tried to pull away, but I held her tighter. I grinned at Caleb, who is now sweeping up the glass. We've been together for years, Caleb. You know that. Of course our relationship is solid." I felt her tense up even more. Caleb was gripping the broom so hard his knuckles were white. For a second, I thought he was going to swing it at my head. I decided not to push it, and instead switched to another topic to agitate him. "You know, Caleb," I said, "your brother's not wrong. You're a grown man. It's time to get a job, find a nice girl." I was just telling Ava, but she said with your situation, no girl would want to be with you. "Ethan, what are you talking about?" Ava panicked, realizing I was putting her on the spot. "Caleb, don't listen to him." He didn't say anything, but his expression grew darker, his hands trembling. He wanted to retort, but didn't dare. Why? Because he knew his place. Everything he had, he got from me. The money in his pocket, I gave it to him. The car he drives, it's mine. The roof over his head, it's mine. He might resent me, but he wasn't stupid. He knew how to play the part of the weak, helpless younger brother. It's how he'd manipulated our parents his whole life. Dinner was fine. I didn't stir up any more trouble. I was actually hungry, and I wasn't going to let them ruin a meal I cooked myself. Later that night, after Ava and I went to bed, she waited until she thought I was asleep and then slipped out of the room. My eyes snapped open in the darkness. A cold smile spread across my face as I watched her silently close the door. The disgust was so overwhelming I couldn't sleep. A few moments later, my burner phone buzzed with a message from her. "Who are you? Why are you doing this? What do you want? Name your price. Giving up so soon? You think this is about money? You just be paying me with my own money, you idiot. Don't worry, Ava. We're just getting started. You made your choices. Now you get to live with the consequences. Your comfortable little life is about to fall apart." I didn't reply to her message. In the following days, she was a nervous wreck, emotionally volatile. Sometimes I'd say one wrong thing and she'd snap at me, giving me the cold shoulder. But she always backpedaled quickly, apologizing and blaming it on stress. Haha, I knew exactly why she was stressed. She didn't dare break things off with me because she knew she couldn't survive without me. I'd play the part of the concerned fiancé, all while reveling in her misery. This is exactly what I wanted. A short time later, it was time for me to visit her parents to finalize the wedding arrangements. A curious thought struck me. Did her parents know about their daughter's affair with Caleb? And if so, what was their stance? I decided not to force the issue. If they're in the dark, telling them would just hurt them unnecessarily. They had always treated me well, almost like their own son. Of course, that was probably thanks to the years I'd spent being a respectful and doting future son-in-law. When we arrived at their house, Ava immediately went to the kitchen to find her mom. I set down the gifts I brought and started chatting with her dad in the living room. "Ethan, you shouldn't have. You come over so often, you don't need to bring gifts every time. Just treat this as your own home," her dad said, though he was happily fiddling with the high-end neck and shoulder massager I brought him. "You know her daughter. We spoiled her rotten growing up. After you two get married, if she does anything out of line, you need to be patient with her. But you tell us, if you can't get through to her, her mother, and I will set her straight." He glanced pointedly toward the kitchen as he said it, clearly for Ava's benefit. I just smiled and nodded. I desperately wanted to ask him, what if she cheated on me? Would you still set her straight then? But I held my tongue. The time wasn't right. I hadn't made Ava pay yet. Her parents were retired teachers, intellectuals who carried themselves with a gentle, scholarly air. They were always so kind and warm. I wondered what their reaction would be when they found out the daughter they'd spent their lives cultivating was capable of such a thing. I snapped back to the present and smiled at her father, pouring him a glass of water. "I understand, sir. Ava is a wonderful person. You and Mrs. Hayes did an amazing job raising her. I'm a lucky man." I had to suppress a gag. "Lucky? I'm cursed. No parent dislikes hearing their child praised. He waved his hand dismissively, but his smile grew wider. Actually, sir, I interrupted his happy moment, letting out a calculated sigh. There's one thing I was hoping you and Mrs. Hayes could help me with. Nonsense, we're family. Whatever it is, just ask. We'll help if we can. It's about my brother, Caleb, I said, taking a sip of tea and feigning difficulty. As I've mentioned, he's at that age where he needs to settle down, but Ava and I don't know anyone suitable to introduce him to. I was hoping you might keep an eye out. If you know any nice girls, maybe you could make an introduction? It would take a lot of pressure off my parents. I kept my tone casual, revealing nothing. The moment I finished, I saw it. The smile on his face froze. It was only for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. The answer was clear. The cold sneer in my mind grew sharper. So you knew what your precious daughter was doing, and you're still sitting here playing the part of the respectable elder. You're disgusting. So everyone was in on it? Everyone was treating me like an idiot? I was the last one to know my own fiancée was cheating on me. They all conspired to lie to me. It was obvious now. My parents, her parents, they all favored Caleb. Why else would they hide this from me? I couldn't let my mind go there. I couldn't imagine what they would have done to me if we had actually gotten married. Ahem. I coughed, raising my hand to cover the darkness spreading across my face. I couldn't let them see. My original plan was just to get revenge on Ava. But now, no one was getting away with this. Ruining her reputation was no longer enough. I needed all of them to pay. I made some small talk with her dad, then excused myself to the balcony for a smoke. I pulled out my burner phone and sent Ava a message. You wanted to keep your secret? Then you'll do exactly as I say. You know the consequences if you don't. I took a long drag from my cigarette, exhaling the smoke slowly. After a moment, I dialed Caleb's number. He answered after 2 rings, his voice dripping with annoyance. What do you want? I ignored his tone. Caleb, remember how you told me you wanted to be a Twitch streamer? I talked to a friend of mine in the industry, and he thinks it's a solid plan. A way for you to do something you're actually passionate about. I gave him a number. Call this guy. Tell him your brother sent you. No way. Seriously, Ethan? That's awesome. This is exactly what I want to do. You guys are always trying to get me some lame office job. This is where the real money is. Don't worry, man. When I make it big, I won't forget what you did for me. The annoyance was gone, replaced by pure excitement. He was calling me bro, like we were best friends. I just smirked to myself. I promise I'll work hard. I won't let you down. After a few more minutes of his rambling, I hung up. I crushed the cigarette, but under my shoe and looked out at the city skyline, a mocking smile on my face. It's a little early to be celebrating, little brother. You'll be crying soon enough. The last real job I got for him, he quit after 3 days. He whined that streaming was the only way to get rich, that he was destined to be an influencer, that it paid way more than 9 to 5. He had our parents pressuring me constantly to find him a gig. But I work in digital marketing. I know people who manage streamers. They told me the truth. The industry is brutal. Sure, you can make money. But from what I know of Caleb, his gaming skills are worse than a bot's. He thinks he's going to get rich? He wouldn't even get the scraps. That's why I'd always shut him down. And of course, he thought I was just trying to hold him back to snuff out the next big star in the gaming world. Fine. If that's what he wants, who am I to stop him? The contact I gave him doesn't run a charity. He's known for exploiting his talent, setting impossibly high performance quotas. If you don't hit your numbers, he docks your pay, your bonuses, everything. And if you can't take it and want to quit, the contract termination fee is astronomical. He once told me they make most of their money off those penalty clauses. Right now, Caleb was probably scrambling to make that call, clueless that he was walking right into my trap. It didn't matter. The more miserable he becomes, the happier I'll be. That idiot would never pass up this chance. All I had to do now was wait and watch the show. I'd already given the manager a heads up. I was sure he'd give Caleb his special attention. I stamped out the cigarette, but on the ground, took a deep breath, and went back inside. Ava was already asleep in bed. Looking at her soft, rosy face, I found myself staring, lost in thought. This was the face I fell for in high school. But looking at it now, I felt none of the old excitement, only disgust. She was just sleeping, her expression peaceful, but all I saw was an ugly, twisted mask. Maybe it's true what they say. Beauty is only skin deep. When you hate someone, Everything about them becomes repulsive. The next evening, Ava and I went to my parents' house for dinner. Why? Because the fire needed a little more fuel. Ava sat across from Caleb. They acted as if I wasn't even there, their eyes locking in a way that was practically tangible. The air was thick with the sickeningly sweet smell of their secret romance. Even my parents watched them with pleased, knowing smiles. How could I have been so blind? The signs were so obvious. I was a complete and utter clown. I can't even fathom when they started sneaking around behind my back. It's just so foul. Halfway through dinner, I couldn't stand their lovey-dovey glances anymore. It was time to get to the point. Caleb, about that manager I told you about yesterday. I did some more research. I don't think it's a good fit. The industry is incredibly competitive. I think it'd be better if I found you a different, less stressful job. What? No way. Having been spoiled his whole life, the second he heard I was backing out, he threw his chopsticks down. My parents were there, so he knew I wouldn't fight back. He felt invincible. How would you know it's not a good fit? You promised me yesterday. Are you going back on your word? Are you just jealous that I might actually make some money? At that, my parents jumped in. Ethan, what is wrong with you? Your brother finally finds something he's passionate about, and you keep changing your mind. What's your problem? Are you afraid he'll be a burden, so you just don't want to help? No, I almost laughed out loud, but managed to stifle it, feigning urgency. Mom, Dad, that's not what I mean. Then what do you mean? Caleb was genuinely panicked now. He really wanted this. My little push was working perfectly. I needed him to be desperate, to be dead set on this path. If I didn't agitate him, his 3-minute attention span might kick in and he'd change his mind before signing the contract. I couldn't have that. Your brother told us about it yesterday. You have no idea how happy he was. We thought you were finally stepping up as a big brother. But I guess not. You're still the same. Can't you just want something good for him for once? You're his older brother. What's wrong with helping him out? You know how he was as a kid. Here we go again. The same old guilt trip they'd used on me my entire life. He was always so sick. Well, he's stolen enough from me over the years. He should be as healthy as a horse by now. But it's never enough for them. This time I didn't argue. I let them berate me, their words washing over me. I was numb to it by now. When they seemed to run out of steam, I let out a heavy sigh. Mom, Dad, it's not that I don't want to help. I asked around. That company has some issues. I'm worried the pressure to perform will be too much for Caleb. Before I could finish, Caleb's voice shot up an octave. You just think I can't do it. You think I'm a loser. Ethan, if you don't want to help me, just say so. You don't have to look down on me like this. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I have to. I'm going to prove you wrong. I smirked internally, but kept a hesitant, conflicted look on my face. My parents, seeing this, piled on. Ethan, don't be so dismissive of your brother. How do you know he can't do it if you won't even let him try? I loved it when they painted me as the bad guy. This wasn't my decision. This was theirs. When it seemed like they were at their peak, I finally nodded, feigning reluctance. Okay, if Caleb really wants to give it a shot, I'll let the manager know. He can start the onboarding process in a few days. To hell with a few days. Let him start today. Let him walk right into that soul-crushing streamer factory. I can't wait to see him fail. Of course, I didn't let any of my excitement show. It was a struggle to keep the grin off my face. And just like that, it was settled. When it all blows up, don't come crying to me. I warned you. You're the ones who insisted. After dinner, I was clearing the table while they all sat on the couch chatting. My mom and dad were on either end, with Ava and Caleb squeezed together in the middle. Seeing them laugh and talk, it was a surprisingly painful sight. They looked like the perfect family. I was the outsider. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore, completely ignoring my presence. Their bodies were pressed together, their hands finding each other's from time to time. Her smile was so shy and sweet. I remembered that same look on her face when we first started dating. I discreetly took a picture with my phone. I went to the bathroom, pulled out the burner, and composed a new message for Ava. Getting cozy with your brother-in-law in front of his parents at your fiancé's house. Does it get any more thrilling than this? How about this? Go to the bathroom and take a couple of pictures for me. Maybe then I'll consider keeping your secret. Ava's phone vibrated. The moment she looked at the screen, her face drained of all color. She was trembling. Ah, she gasped, dropping her phone. Caleb, sitting next to her, quickly reached down to pick it up. Ava completely lost it. Don't touch my phone, she shrieked. The sudden scream startled everyone. She realized what she'd done and hastily snatched the phone, clutching it to her chest. She forced an awkward, ugly smile. "I'm so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Cole. I didn't mean to yell at Caleb. I'm just a little." Oomph. Caleb had been pampered his whole life. No one had ever yelled at him like that. He couldn't handle it. His face darkened, and he stormed off to his room, slamming the door behind him. Ava's expression became even more pained. Seeing her at a loss, my mom gently nudged her, as if to say, "Go on, apologize to him. It'll be fine." But Ava was in no mood for that. She looked like she was about to cry. Making up an excuse, she mumbled something and hurried toward the bathroom. I sat at the dining table, calmly eating an apple. What a show. More, please. This is my favorite channel. Are you just going to sit there eating that apple? What's wrong with Ava? She doesn't seem okay. Did you do something to her? My mom, seeing me act so nonchalant, turned her frustration on me. I almost laughed. Why are you asking me? Go ask them. You know exactly who's upsetting who. But I kept up the act. She's been under a lot of pressure at work lately. She's just not herself. Beezy bees in my burner phone vibrated. It was a message from Ava. I opened it, surprised. The apple one was chewing almost flew out of my mouth. Well. She was in the bathroom, and she'd sent me two private photos. In the pictures, she was wearing a pink lingerie top, her shoulders bare. Her figure was undeniably impressive. You could even see the faint lines of her abs. I had to admit, she had a great body. But looking at them now, I felt nothing. Only a burning rage. Looking at these photos, I felt pathetic. The shame and fury were overwhelming. All I said was take a couple of pictures. I never specified what kind. The fact that her mind immediately went to this, and that she took and sent them without hesitation. What did that say about her? It said she wasn't some innocent victim. She'd done this before. She'd probably sent dozens just like this to Caleb. I could picture it now. Caleb, alone at night, hiding under his covers, staring at photos of her. I could picture them tangled in the sheets of my bed, her whispering his name the same way she used to whisper mine. The thought made my skin crawl. I couldn't stand it. The rage completely consumed me. The apple in my mouth tasted like ash. Fine, you want to play games? Then I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to hold back. When you're dealing with people like this, mercy is just another way to hurt yourself. Just you wait. My revenge is just getting started. None of you are getting away. You will all pay for this. Over the next few weeks, I used the burner phone to periodically mess with Ava's life. If I saw her happy, I'd send a text to ruin her mood. Her misery was my joy. Under this constant psychological torment, her mental state deteriorated. She started needing sleeping pills to get through the night. There were moments I almost felt guilty. Was I going too far? But then I'd remember her and Caleb, sneaking around, so blissfully in love. I'd remember how everyone, my own family, conspired to lie to me, to make a fool of me. And I'd remember that no one felt sorry for me. A few times I saw her look at me, words on the tip of her tongue. She wanted to confess. I could see it. She wanted to end the constant anxiety. But she could never bring herself to say it. That was fine with me. Every day she stayed silent was another day of torment. It was her choice. As for Caleb, he officially signed with the streaming company and started posting videos and live streaming on his own channel. What he didn't know was that I was secretly buying him traffic, views, and a legion of fake followers. I was creating the illusion that he was a rising star. Who said Caleb Cole couldn't make it? Look at these stats. Millions of views. I was born for this. My blind brother said I couldn't do it. Just wait until I'm a superstar. I'll rub it in his face. How did I know he was thinking that? Because I was the one pulling the strings, inflating his ego. I needed him to believe he was a genius, that he was on the verge of making it big. Like I said before, to destroy someone, you first have to let them fly. The higher they get, the harder they fall. And just as I predicted, as his numbers grew, so did his arrogance. He started spending money like crazy, telling everyone he met that he was about to be a famous influencer, and they'd all be begging for his autograph. What he didn't know was that the money he was earning from donations was just me, laundering it back to him. Go ahead, kid. Spend it all. You'll be crying for it later. Before the wedding, our parents finally sat down to discuss the dowry and other arrangements. Caleb was late. Ava's parents started to look annoyed. He was my brother, but he was also Ava's secret lover. To be this late for such an important meeting was a sign of profound disrespect. My own parents kept apologizing. For Caleb, of course, their loyalties were clear. And me, the actual groom? I was just a prop, sitting off to the side while everyone waited for my brother. It was surreal. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The weight on my chest felt crushing. "Ethan, call your brother. See what he's doing," my dad grumbled, shifting the pressure onto me. I just shrugged and pretended to try. We waited longer, the parents making awkward small talk, completely ignoring me. The coldness in my heart intensified. Finally, Caleb swaggered in. I was shocked by his appearance. It had only been a few weeks, but he was a completely different person. He was decked out head to toe in designer brands, flashing the newest iPhone. He looked like he'd just won the lottery and had no idea what to do with the money. His nose was so high in the air I was surprised he didn't trip. He didn't apologize for being late. Instead, he looked around the private room with disgust. "Seriously? My dear brother, on such an important day, this is where you take your future in-laws to eat. This place is a dump." He bounced his leg, oozing condescension. "Hey, big bro, you short on cash lately? It's okay. Just ask your little brother. I got money now. Treating everyone to a nice dinner is no problem for me. Let's go. Let's find a better place." His arrogance was infuriating, but inside I was ecstatic. I knew he'd been dying to one-up me, and now that he thought he had the money, he wouldn't miss the chance to show off in front of Ava and her parents. What he didn't know was that while this place looked unassuming, it was a private kitchen run by a Michelin-starred chef. You couldn't get a table without serious connections. I had to pull a lot of strings to book this room. I couldn't wait to see his face when the bill came. I played along. Well, since Caleb is offering, it wouldn't be right for me to refuse. "I guess dinner's on you tonight." I glanced at Ava. Her eyes were sparkling as she looked at Caleb. To a girl in love, even the stupidest actions look heroic. "Waiter, the check," I called out. A server brought the bill over. I gestured grandly toward Caleb. "Give the bill to that gentleman. Mr. Caleb Cole is covering our meal tonight." I added, "Looks like my little brother has really made it." I was putting him on the spot, backing him into a corner. "You love showing off, don't you? Let's see you show off now." Even my parents looked proud. Ava's parents seemed less annoyed. "Sir, your bill." The waiter handed it to Caleb. He took it with a dismissive smirk, but when his eyes landed on the total, his face crumbled. "How much?" $18,000. For one meal. Are you robbing us? Was the food made of gold?" he snarled, slapping the bill against his palm. The poor waiter looked mortified, not because a customer was yelling, but because a customer thought the price was high. He had a look on his face that said, "Are you planning on dining and dashing?" "Is it expensive, sir?" he asked politely. "This is a private kitchen, run by a world-renowned chef. Many people can't even get a reservation. The price is the price. If you think it's expensive, perhaps that is your problem." The waiter finished with a polite smile that was pure, unadulterated mockery. Everyone's expression, except for mine, soured. The price was high, but it was fair. This was a major event, and I wanted to show my sincerity. For me, 18 grand was steep, but manageable. For Caleb, it was impossible. He'd spent all his earnings on his new wardrobe. He didn't have a dime left. Ava's father, the retired teacher who valued appearances above all else, had been looking pleased just moments before. Now, seeing Caleb's outburst, his face turned the color of raw liver. He sat there, stony-faced, without a word. Ava looked embarrassed and shot me a pleading look. "That's enough, Caleb. Give the bill to your brother. You just started working. You don't have that kind of money. Stop making a scene," my mom scolded, swooping in to clean up his mess. The pressure, as always, landed back on me. I decided I'd had my fun and smoothly paid the bill. "Thank you, esteemed guests. Enjoy your evening," the waiter said, bowing. As he left, he shot Caleb a look that screamed, "If you're broke, don't pretend you're a big shot." Caleb was furious, his face shifting between pale and red. He had been utterly humiliated. His eyes, full of hatred, locked onto mine. "Seriously? You're blaming me for your own stupidity?" I hadn't said a word. In fact, I tried to comfort him. "My dear brother, Mom's right. You're just starting out. You should save your money. You can treat us next time." He glared, about to say something, but my mom cut him off. "That's enough. We'll talk about this at home," she hissed. The room was small, and Ava's parents heard every word. Their faces grew even darker. This was just embarrassing. Her dad stood up without a word and walked out. Got more money than you know what to do with, huh? Spending this much on one meal. Trying to look like a big shot when you're just a fraud. Caleb muttered under his breath, still fuming. Unfortunately for him, Ava's father heard him. Caleb, he said, his voice dripping with disappointment. It's not hard to be realistic. What's hard is being self-aware. If you had half of your brother's drive, your parents wouldn't have to worry so much about you. He shook his head, took Ava's hand, and led her to the car. I blinked. Hey, that's my fiancée you're taking. He seemed to realize his mistake, shot Ava a glare, and then got in the car with his wife, leaving Ava standing awkwardly beside me. What the hell are you looking at? Caleb snapped at me. Don't get cocky just because you have a little money. I'm telling you, I'm about to blow up. I'll be making more than you in no time. He shot a final glance at Ava and stormed off. We'll see about that, I thought. I can't wait. Life calmed down for a while. Then, Ava's father was invited back to his old high school for a retirement ceremony. He'd taught there for decades and was a beloved figure. Ava and I were, of course, invited to attend. The moment I saw the invitation, the perfect revenge plan clicked into place. A few weeks prior, I got my hands on Ava's old phone. I'd accidentally dropped it, shattering the screen. To show how sorry I was, I bought her the newest iPhone. She was thrilled and tossed the old, broken phone in the trash. I retrieved it. I contacted an old college buddy, a programming genius who now worked at Google. With his help, recovering deleted data was child's play. When he sent me the files, my screen filled with messages and photos, so vulgar my face flushed with rage. My fists clenched. I was lucky my friend was professional enough to just recover the data and not look at it. Stealing myself, I saved everything to a flash drive. Most of it was explicit photos Ava had sent to Caleb. She was far more adventurous with him than she ever was in the photos she'd sent her anonymous blackmailer. It was clear she trusted Caleb completely. How romantic. While I was preparing, I got a message from the MCN manager. He said that without my fake traffic, Caleb's channel was tanking. He asked if I wanted to buy him some more time out of respect for me. No, Ivrolia instantly. Do not give him any special treatment. Treat him like any other streamer on your roster. Push him to the brink. Make him so desperate he tries to break the contract. That's when the real fun starts. The day of the retirement ceremony arrived. As we walked onto the school campus, Ava clung to my arm, her head resting on my shoulder, the very picture of a happy fiancé. It just made me sick. Babe, look, she said, pointing. That tree is still there. Remember, back in school, you used to wait for me under that tree every single day. I turned to look at her. Her smile was so bright, so genuine. No one would ever guess that the memories she was so fondly recalling were of a relationship she had already betrayed. Yeah, I said. I remember. The youth she was reminiscing about was my youth, too. A youth I now felt I had wasted on her. We took our seats in the front row, reserved for family. The auditorium was filled with students and teachers. As her father began his speech, I checked the time. It was showtime. I pulled out my phone and sent a single text. Now. A few moments later, a murmur spread through the student section behind us. Hey, did you see the post on the school's alumni Facebook page? This is insane. Whoa, that girl looks really familiar. Isn't that Mr. Hayes' daughter? It is. She said hi to me on the way in. This can't be real. Babe, were they saying, why is everyone looking at me? Ava whispered, her voice trembling. She squeezed my arm tighter. I gently stroked her hair. Don't worry, I said. I'll protect you. Inside, I was sneering. Let's see you act your way out of this one. The whispers grew louder, drowning out her father's speech. He heard them, too, and his expression darkened. Another teacher rushed onto the stage and showed him his phone. His eyes went wide. He swayed, almost fainting right there on the stage. He trembled with rage, his eyes locking onto a still confused Ava. Ignoring the other teachers, he jumped off the stage, stormed over to her, and slapped her hard across the face. Ava, you shameless, ungrateful child. Is this what I taught you? Is this how you repay us? Ava, her cheek red and swollen, was completely bewildered. A helpful student showed her the phone. When she saw the screenshots of her chats, her private photos plastered all over the internet, her face twisted in horror. No, Dad, it's not what it looks like. It's a misunderstanding. That's not me, she stammered. Ethan, don't look at me like that. You believe me, right? I would never do that to you. I just stared at her, my face a blank mask. That terrified her even more. You dare to lie? Her father roared, clutching his chest. You shameless. You. He couldn't finish. His breath hitched, his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed. Dad, Mr. Hayes. Someone call 911. The auditorium erupted into chaos. I blended into the crowd, watching Ava's panicked face as she searched for me. It was almost laughable. You reap what you sow. I didn't feel responsible. If she hadn't cheated, none of this would have happened. When they all lied to me, did they ever think about my feelings? They got what they deserved. The fault was hers, and this was the price. By the time her mother arrived at the hospital, her father was still in the ER. She saw Ava crying and slapped her too. Look what you've done. You've made us the laughingstock of the entire town. You put your father in the hospital. I stepped in, playing good guy. Auntie, please don't be angry. Ava's a victim here, too. This could all be fake, photoshopped. I believe in her. I glanced at Ava, who looked up at me, her eyes full of gratitude and love. I almost threw up. Oh, Ethan, her mother cried, grabbing my hand. Thank goodness you're here. I don't know what we would do without you. Soon after, the doctor came out. Her father was stable. He had suffered a minor heart attack brought on by extreme stress. Ava made an excuse and slipped away. I followed her. She ducked into a stairwell. I heard her screaming into her phone. It was Caleb. Caleb, are you insane? Those pictures I sent you, how did they get out? Who did you show them to, you bastard? I hid, stifling a laugh. What do you mean I'm crazy? They're all over my dad's school forum. Who else could it be but you? Did you show them off to your friends? I was a fool to ever fall for you. You're nothing. A loser. At least Ethan has ambition. You're not even worth the dirt on his shoes. What? Break up? Huh? You think you can just walk away after all this? It's too late, you asshole. You're not getting rid of me that easily. Hello? Caleb? Hello. He must have hung up on her. I heard her scream a few more curses before she came out. I slipped away before she could see me. I couldn't hold back the laughter any longer. So much for true love. After I composed myself, I pulled out my phone and checked Caleb's Twitch channel. His already small number of followers was plummeting. He wouldn't last much longer. The school administrators quickly took down the Facebook post, but the screenshots were already everywhere. In a town this size, gossip travels fast. At work, my colleagues started whispering. Ava had to endure their stares and snide comments every day. The pressure finally broke her. One night, she collapsed into my arms, sobbing uncontrollably. I held her, offering empty words of comfort, feeling nothing but contempt. The price had not yet been fully paid. It's okay, don't cry, I said. If you don't want to go to work, then don't. You can stay home. I can support us. Her body went still for a moment. Then she buried her face in my chest and nodded. After that, her relationship with Caleb turned toxic. They couldn't be in the same room without fighting. Dinners at my parents' house became unbearable. Not because of the fighting, but because I was trying so hard not to laugh. So, when Caleb came to me asking for money, Ava shot him down before I could even speak. Money? For what? Aren't you a big-shot influencer now? You should be rolling in it, she sneered. Caleb's face darkened. As a new stay-at-home fiancée, Ava had quickly learned the value of $1. She wasn't about to let Caleb get his hands on my money. I didn't say I wouldn't pay it back, he grumbled, his head down. Just give me a few months. I can turn it around. How much do you need? I asked, cutting in. $1 million. Oh, what? Ava laughed, a cold, sharp sound. Are you insane? Why don't you just ask him to sell a kidney while you're at it? $1 million? He's your brother, not your bank. Her words were harsh. My parents looked grim. I had to stop myself from smiling. I subtly tugged on Ava's sleeve. Caleb, I said, my voice full of fake regret. It's not that I don't want to help, but Ava and I are getting married in 2 weeks. I just don't have that kind of cash on hand. But, I added, if you're really in a bind, you can mortgage Mom and Dad's house. I'll help you pay it back. I bought that house for them, in cash, a few years ago. The deed was in their names. It was supposed to be their retirement home. But now, I wanted it back. They ate my food, spent my money, and plotted against me. They thought I was a fool. That's right. I forgot about the house. Dad, Caleb's eyes lit up. The house was worth several million. Absolutely not, my mother protested. My dad just stared at me, a calculating look in his eyes. "Dad, don't look at me," I said quickly. "I have to pay for the wedding, the dowry, a new house for Ava and me. I might not even have enough. In fact, maybe you could lend me some." Ava caught on. "Mr. Cole," she said, "this money is for our wedding. Caleb shouldn't even think about touching it." My dad was speechless. "You always told me I should help Caleb," I pressed. "Now he's in trouble. Are you, his parents, just going to stand by and watch?" "I'm just his brother." "Exactly," Caleb chimed in. "You're my parents. Ethan has already done enough for me. If I just mortgage the house, I swear I can get it back in a few months. I'm your son. Don't you trust me?" Nice. The moral blackmail card. Later, Ava and I left. I knew they'd give in. They always did when it came to Caleb. Sure enough, I got a message from the MCN manager. Caleb was breaking his contract, and he didn't care about the multi-million-dollar penalty. It was both hilarious and sad. We were born of the same parents, but treated so differently. When I went to the bank, I didn't go with them. But news travels. Soon, all my friends and relatives knew that the house I'd bought for my parents had been mortgaged to bail out my deadbeat brother. They pitied me, and their pity turned into support, both at work and in my personal life. I even got a raise. A few weeks later, on New Year's Day, my wedding day arrived. The venue was a fairy tale. It was everything we had ever dreamed of. My parents were there. Her mother was there. Her father, who had never fully recovered, was not. They all looked thinner, worn down by the gossip and shame. I stood on the altar, watching Ava walk toward me in the dress we had picked out together so long ago. She was still beautiful, but I felt nothing. Today wasn't a wedding. It was a funeral, the funeral of our relationship. And I was about to burn everyone to the ground. My eyes drifted to Caleb, sitting in the front row. Same face, same suit. Who was the real groom? I'm sure Ava wished it was him. She reached me, and I took her hand. The crowd applauded as we walked toward the officiant. The whole scene was a dream. Ava's face was glowing with happiness. She thought she was at the end of her journey. She had no idea she was at the beginning of her nightmare. The large screen behind us, which had been showing a slideshow of our happy memories, suddenly flickered. It was replaced by screenshots, their chat logs, their explicit photos. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Ava's eyes widened in horror. She stared at me, her look a mixture of shock and pure hatred. "It was you. It was you all along. I played dumb." "What are you talking about, Ava? What is this? You told me those pictures were fake." I feigned a look of utter devastation, stumbling backward and falling off the stage. The guests erupted. They'd all heard the rumors, but seeing the proof was something else entirely. My college friends were furious on my behalf. "I can't believe this. With her own brother-in-law. Why would she choose that loser over Ethan? For the thrill, obviously. They're identical twins. How sick is that? Wait, did you see the parents' reaction? They don't look surprised at all. Do you think they knew? No way. If that's true, then Ethan is the real victim here. His own family betrayed him. All I had to do was play the victim. Public opinion would do the rest." They were finished. Her father, watching from home via a live stream, couldn't take the shock. He had a second fatal heart attack. The wedding ended with the sound of ambulance sirens. Ava clung to me, sobbing, begging for forgiveness. I looked at her, the disgust I'd hidden for so long finally showing on my face. I ripped her hand away and walked out without a backward glance. The show was finally over. I took a 2-week leave from work, changed my number, and drove across the country. When I came back, I felt cleansed. I went back to the apartment I had shared with Ava. The place was a disaster, littered with empty beer bottles and cigarette butts. It stank. In the dim light, I saw a figure huddled in the corner. It was Ava. She scrambled up and threw her arms around me, reeking of stale alcohol and unwashed clothes. "Ethan," she sobbed. "My dad. He's dead. My mom disowned me. She said I killed him." I felt her body tremble against mine. "Your mom's not wrong," I said calmly. "And what about your little lover?" She pulled back, her eyes wide with a desperate, pathetic hope. "Ethan, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me, just this once." I reached up and wiped a tear from her cheek. For a second, she thought I was softening. Then I leaned in close. "Do you know what I thought, Ava, when I found your chats? I thought, you must be fundamentally broken to play me for a fool like that. You thought I was stupid, but I knew everything. This isn't my fault, I said, my voice dropping to a whisper. This is yours. HHH, she screamed, shoving me away. It was you, you monster. You ruined my life. You killed my father. Did I force you to cheat? I asked, my voice flat. Did I force you to send those pictures? You love the thrill. You made your choice. The consequences are your own. She collapsed, grabbing my leg, begging me not to leave her. For a moment, seeing her so broken, a flicker of the love I once had for her returned. I pitied her, so I didn't say anything else. I just called security and had her removed from my property. I went to my parents' house, but strangers answered the door. The house had been repossessed. I found my parents later, and I found Caleb. He was waiting for me outside my office, looking like a homeless man. He lunged at me, screaming that I had ruined his life. You're wrong, I told him, straightening my suit. Without me, you would have been a failure long ago. I'm the only reason you lasted this long. You can blame anyone you want, but you can't blame me. I've done more than enough for you. I walked away and didn't look back. I heard later that Caleb had developed a gambling addiction, trying to win back his fortune. He ended up on the streets. I put my parents in a decent nursing home. It was the last thing I would do for them as their son. Some time passed. My boss, who knew my story, introduced me to her daughter. She wasn't as beautiful as Ava, but she was kind, gentle, and caring. We fell in love. Our wedding was a quiet, happy affair. A year later, we were expecting our first child. We were at an outdoor market, shopping for baby clothes when I saw them. A man and a woman, running a small, dingy stall, were screaming at each other. The man, losing the argument, started hitting the woman. It was Caleb and Ava. What is it? My wife asked, following my gaze. I smiled and took her hand. Nothing at all. As we walked away, I glanced back one last time. He was still hitting her. She was just taking it. I smiled again. Perhaps this was the life Ava had always dreamed of. Fate, in its own cruel way, has a habit of making sure soulmates end up together.